Our nation, our country, our future is built by scientists, by engineers, by innovators, by men and women who see value in learning and in change. The Moses Kotane Institute nurtures future leaders through education in maths and science. Our innovative maths and science program bridges the gap between students and educators, ensuring understanding and efficiency. Become our partner and let's invest in our tomorrow together. The Moses Kotane Institute.
Not sit on your laurels. Some of the companies I know are small companies. It's about re-injecting capital and not buying a BMW too soon, a Ferrari too soon.
Any country would be happy to have these people as entrepreneurs.
The most critical ingredient to achieve that vision is skills.
When you steal public money, my comrade, you are being counter-revolutionary.
It starts and then it'll run for a while and then there's a cocktail on the deck afterwards. So please hang around for that. Very, very important discussions taking place. Right, now, have you noticed this increase in road rage at the minute? What is going on? Everybody's losing the plot. And you know what I think it is? People don't follow road rules and then they offend somebody. And so when you get to a stop sign, stop. It's not a giveaway. Stop. As one traffic officer explained to a person, they said, "Officer, he said, you didn't stop at the stop sign." And he says, "No, officer, I did. It's just, I slowed down and then I crossed." And he says, "Do you want me to show you the difference between slowing down and stopping?" And he says, "Yes." So he took out his stick and he started hitting him. And he says, "Do you want me to slow down or stop?" Okay. We're getting into the second session of today now, and we have a number of things that we need to start unpacking. But I guess at the end of the day, how do we get South Africa working? How do we unlock this vision that we have for our country? I'm going to invite a couple of people to deliver some addresses, keynote addresses for us. And then after that, we're going to have a panel discussion about getting people to work and making work for people. But first, it's my great pleasure to welcome the founder and director of Fitola, which is an organization that's really working and doing great things in the small business space. I've had the opportunity to interview her once. And so please welcome Catherine Wijnberg from Fitola.
Hi, good morning to you. Standard practice is that one gets told in public speaking that you should start with a joke. But I'm really bad at jokes, so I'll just give you the Cape Town weather report. Monday, 16 and raining. Tuesday, 15 and raining. Wednesday, 13 and raining. I'm a great believer that we should do things differently. And I hope to take you on a little journey now that really just speaks about doing things differently. So if I can take you back to 2009, when Fitola was a very small management consulting company. We worked out of my own dining room, my dining room in number 5 Bond Street, Lakeside in the southern suburbs, and we had 2.5 employees. But we had a little bit of a problem because we'd just been asked by Old Mutual to double the size of our small business incubator. So that meant that we went up to 72 businesses in all 9 provinces. So you can imagine we had a bit of a pain point. And that pain point was that we didn't have enough staff. We were overstretched. We were working, as any of you who have your own businesses will know, 24/7, including the 8th day, which is Sunday night. And then, as luck would have it, I got a phone call out of the blue. And it was an intern placement company. And this lady, an Irish lady, Amir, in her delightful accent, said to me she had a bit of a problem. She had 2 international graduates who needed a work opportunity for the next 3 months. And would I please give them an opportunity? So I thought, well, sure, I'm short of skills. I've never thought about using an intern. My business is very small, but they need me to solve one of their problems. And so I took them on. And on the 8th of June, 2009, 2 young ladies walked in my front door. Katie Wyszewski from Canada and Ari Merrill from the United States. The next 3 months was a complete whirlwind for them. They grew to know every aspect of business. They were delighted. They left me saying they'd learn more in 3 months than they'd learned in 3 years at university, and that they felt as though they'd got themselves an MBA. I was delighted because I had managed to bridge a resource gap and I'd managed to pull my program together. So I took another 2. But very soon I started to get really frustrated. I had the sense that I was spending my time and effort growing another country's asset. And I also got frustrated because it's illegal to take somebody's passport. And there was no other way that I could make them not leave and not go home. And so I thought, there's got to be a South African solution. There's got to be something like this for South African grads. And so I started it. And on the 1st of February 2010, our first South African intern started to work for us, Sine Goboza. And after Sine, followed many others. And using graduate interns unemployed interns that have had a piece of paper but no work experience, I've actually grown the business. 3 years later, we were 25 employees, and quite a number of those were interns themselves. In fact, in the audience today, I've got one of our very first interns, Abram. Abram, would you just stand up? And I think I'd like to show you Abram's story, so you don't listen to me telling you the benefit to a grad. You can hear it from him himself. If somebody can help me to get this going.
My name is Abram Malelamane. I'm a 24-year-old from Limpopo. I was born in a place called Toronto, and I come from a family of just three, just me, my mother, and my little sister. It's been quite a journey, for me to get this far. And Limpopo, it's well known as this impoverished province. Some of my peers don't end up getting any job or getting any assistance whatsoever. So as a result, they end up sitting at home, wasting their lives, drinking, drugs, and that's what I've been waking up to every day of my life, and then I've studied journalism at the Tshwane University of Technology. Our module was that one could not graduate, without having gone under at least experiential learning program. You can call it an internship. Months after months, I kept applying and applying, nothing. I eventually got to a point where, okay, you know what? The only way for me to at least stand out from my peers or some of my competitors is to change my attitude and then just be willing to grab whatever that was out there for me. I got the internship. I went there prepared, with the right attitude. I was gonna make sure that they take me permanent. I learned as much as I could. I was actually surprised to the amount of responsibility that has been given. And for me, just to see them give out, share their knowledge like that, I didn't really want to disappoint them. I wanted, even if 10 years later, when I've left, that maybe sit around, we'll be conversing saying, we've had a lot of interns, but there's just this one intern. There's just this one intern, and I wanted to be that person. It paid off in a period of 3 months. My director came to me and said, would you be interested in staying permanent with us? And I think if every really person out there who has, a positive attitude, who really know what they want, I think they'll get, anywhere they want to be.
Abram is one of those incredible interns that every business really wishes that they could find. And he's now, 3 years later, he's a very integral and core part of the team. In fact, he's integral to sharing what's worked for us with other businesses around the country. So you might ask, how did FATOLA, which are small business specialists, we work with small organizations around the country implementing incubator initiatives, how on earth did we come to running a national internship initiative? The reality is that we saw the coming together of three possibilities. First of all, as we worked with small organizations, we saw exactly the same pain points in them that we had in ourselves. We saw that they lacked resources. We saw that they were afraid to hire. We saw that they didn't think that they could afford graduate skills. We saw that they needed something, they needed to be able to jump in and jump out of staffing. Secondly, we saw that there was a huge problem with youth unemployment, and particularly graduate unemployment. And it wasn't just their problem, it was all of our problem. On top of that, we realized that the small business sector stands out as the opportunity for job growth. Just in the last year, 80% of all new jobs created have been created in businesses of less than 50 employees. So it's not the big guys that's creating the jobs. It's not the multinationals. It's not the corporates. It's the small guys. And then lastly, we were really passionate about what we've seen. It's worked for us, and we love growth, and we love sharing what's worked with others. So that set us on a journey. We created what we called the Graduate Asset Program. Why asset? Simple. There's a latent asset in your unemployed graduates. There's a latent asset in your small business sector. Put them together and you get a growth acceleration. But building the GAP system wasn't easy. It's 2 years later and over 8.7 million rand to be precise. We now have a matching platform. We have a website, a very sophisticated matching platform that is really unique. It's a South African build, it's South African technology. And it makes it very easy for businesses and for graduates to find and match each other online. It takes away the pain of recruiting. It takes away the pain. If any of you are small recruiters, you'll know sooner put an ad. In fact, the very first time we put a GAP internship opportunity on the Fatola site, guess how many intern applications we had the next day? One day, guess. How much? 200, 300, 500? Try 1,200. Try 1,200 applications overnight. So what does that mean for us as a recruiter? You've got to go through 1,200 CVs before you can get to the 10 that you want to interview. These are the kind of pain points that small businesses have to go through. Small businesses don't have big HR facilities, and they can't afford the services of a recruitment agent. So just those kind of things, making sure that we made it easy for the small business. We made it easy, and believe me, a lot of big businesses use our platform as well, and they're also really grateful for those tools. But it was a greenfield project. It's been challenging, but it's working. The system is working, and it's ready now. It's working. It's proven, and it's ready for scaling. So maybe before I go, I want to take you through some of the details, mainly because I'm passionate about it, but also because I think it might be useful for you. So what we have is that we have this platform. The main thing for the business, it speaks to the business, cuts your shortlisting from a traditional cycle of 3 weeks to less than an hour. More than that, there's a 24/7 support system. And we have a team of actually GAP graduates, so they've all been through the system, that do about 1,000 hours a month in supporting both the businesses and the grads. And it's really a simple system of profile, filter in place. This is a snapshot just from yesterday. You'll see on the platform that there's 1,913 internship opportunities available. And at that moment, there were 3,800 grads actively looking for an opportunity. I'd like that grad number to be much higher. And so really any of you with education establishments, any of you that have got grads that have popped out of your diploma or your degree qualifications, this is where they should be, because the more grads there are, the richer the environment and the greater the place rate. But more importantly here, you'll see it's 50, those stats are not quite right, but it's about 50-50 university and diploma. So that includes technical skills, technical qualifications, certificates, a tiny handful of matrics, is about 5% matrics, but we don't specialize in those. We really specialize in kids that have got a post-matric qualification. But they're from all fields, so literally from graphic design, from agriculture all the way to zoology, and throughout the country. But what was really important here, what makes us different, is that we realize that the starting point to success, I mean, we all have this dream of full employment, right? We have a dream that everybody we've trained is fully functioning in society. They've all got a job, They're all fully satisfied. They're contributing members of society, and they're satisfied and looking after their families. And we realized that the problem that is very often happens is that graduate or internship initiatives start with the assumption, shame poor grad. How can we help this poor grad? And we turned it on its head, and we said, actually, the starting point is shame poor business. Because unless you meet the needs of the business, and unless the business is growing, job creation is a fiction. The business must be growing in order to be able to create new opportunities for the graduate to be employed. And so we said the starting point is to say, what do businesses need to grow? And some of the things that we've come up with is this, that certainly the business needs to feel that they're in full control. The grad needs to become prepared, and we do provide online work readiness for graduates. In fact, everything is available online. Grads can access the site on their smartphones. They can access the tools. All the tools and templates are very low res, specially designed for access on a smartphone. And in addition, we provide a lot of site resources, because as I mentioned earlier, a lot of small businesses are really afraid of hiring. Okay? A very common weakness in a small and a medium-sized business is poor human resource management and lack of understanding of the labor legislation and a feeling of concern, of fear, if you like. And so one of the first challenges is to help them to be labor compliant. And so we provide a lot of free tools and templates to the business in order to raise their confidence levels and to get them so that they are fully compliant. In addition, we supply interns in all fields. And it's literally from engineering, engineering field to sometimes to simple things like cashiers. So really a full range of requirements that the business has. And on the site there are graduates and diploma graduates from every field, and growing all the time. And then lastly, as I said, run by a passionate and experienced team. Everybody that works on the GAP program has themselves been a GAP graduate or has themselves been a business owner. And so really there's this ability to touch and to understand exactly what's needed in those two groups. So again, just speaking about this, the importance of speaking first to the needs of business. This is the kind of material that we send out when we're speaking to a business. This is the kind of motivation that we give to them as to why they should take on an intern. Because remember that most small and medium businesses have never used interns. It's not common. It's very much something that happens at a big corporate level in government, but small businesses don't understand it. So they don't understand, first of all, that if you apply a graduate at the coalface of your business, becomes a business value. It becomes a business imperative. It's not a tick box. Very often in a corporate, taking an intern as part of your scorecard tick box. For a small business, that doesn't work for them. They need to be convinced that it works for their business. They need to be convinced that by taking the right graduate, so using the matching tools, they can actually apply that grad into their business so that they can be value enhancing. And so these are the kind of motivations that we use to explain to them how it can be of value. GAP is built on partnerships. So we have a lot of partnerships with education institutions, partnerships with government institutions, with recruitment agents, and obviously with individual businesses. So maybe the question that you need to ask yourself is that if your goal is that your graduates should be in full employment, or if you're a business for whom job creation, business growth, success of the country, getting our country working is part of your initiative or part of your goals and aims, maybe you need to ask yourself, why are you not on the screen? And lastly, I'd like to leave you with a question, or maybe with a thought. If there are 1.2 million banked SMEs, we only need 25% of them to ensure that every graduate in South Africa is employed. So again, if we have a situation in South Africa where we have graduates, kids that have gone through matric, they've gone through post-matric, they've gone through university, some of them have gone through honours, even through masters, and they're not employed, don't you think that before we keep filling up the bath with graduates, we need to work first of all in pulling the plug and opening the outlet so that all of these graduates are coming through and finding employment? And one of the ways to do that is to use internship in a way that works for business. I look at internship a bit like a runway. Many graduates come out of school, particularly in South Africa, they have no work experience. They may even have parents who have no work experience, but they have a piece of paper. They don't know that that piece of paper is of very little value in the workplace. And I'm sorry to say that, but it's true. They don't understand it, but they do know that they're fearful. Maybe some of them are sitting in a rural environment and they don't know where the jobs are. We've had that. Somebody, in fact, from Limpopo a couple of months ago saying, thank you so much for GAP. I did a 3-year degree and then had to go straight home because I couldn't afford to stay in town. I needed to go back to my village. And for 3 years I've sat in the village because I didn't know how to find the job. There were no newspapers. I couldn't afford a newspaper. I didn't know where to find the opportunity. In fact, at one stage, I even went into town and started knocking door to door, but I still didn't get a job. And then I found GAP. Thank you. You've opened my life for me. So maybe internship is that runway. It's that runway. It's that guided opportunity to get these grads that have a piece of paper, to give them an easy, soft landing. It's not always so soft, but to give them a safe landing, to get into the workplace. And realizing that if you work carefully and you work intelligently, understanding that at the end of the day, you have to meet the business's needs. You've not only created a runway for the youngster to come out of school into the runway of a workplace, but in that runway, you've created a plane that the business can actually get up and to fly. So I'd like to just ask you just for a quick moment to imagine that every single person you've touched, every single person you've trained, every single person who's got a qualification or a skill through you, imagine if every single one of them was employed, was fully functioning and working in society. Can you imagine how incredible South Africa would be? I invite you to please take a look at the site, join us, partner with us, contact us, and let's together get South Africa working. Thank you.
On your behalf, I'd like to say thank you very much to Catherine Wijnberg. Again, another powerful solution being provided. I mean, it's quite incredible, the statistic you shared with us, that 80% of the people that are employed last year came from small businesses. We keep saying it, but I think, as you said, we have to find ways to make it easier for these small businesses to be able to employ. So great work, again, powerful, and again, reaching out for partnerships and help so that we can do this job of making South Africa happen. So thank you very much indeed for providing this service. Internship, a powerful first step, as a note that I wrote listening to you there. Catherine Wijnberg, founder and director of Patola.
Our nation, our country. Our future is built by scientists, by engineers, by innovators, by men and women who see value in learning and in change. The Moses Kotane Institute specializes in nurturing future leaders. We have been successfully skilling learners from underprivileged backgrounds since 2009 with our specialized learning programs. Anyone can change the world. They just need a chance.